In this video, we're going to demonstrate just how simple and easy it is to import a job based on an owner's job card into UnitsPro, perform the estimate, update it, and then use that estimate format to progress and schedule the job. So the first thing and the most difficult thing, but this is a one-time effort, is to take the owner's specification books, enter all their sections, and then for each section, enter all their assemblies or construction specifications or macro units, whatever their vocabulary calls for. And as we do this, you can see this is a straight line pole. Here is an image of that. We can use that image in the mapping we're about to do. That image is also made available to the workforce through the mobile app. So with just a single click in the mobile app, they can get these system drawings right up and available. If the owner has updates to those, we've got a simple process to go through and keep those current so that we're distributing the construction standard drawings to the workforce electronically through that app. Down here, we've gone through and we've mapped the billable units. These are the billable units for this utility to this specification. And you can see we have a ground assembly, a single phase frame, a secondary frame. These are all quantities one. And then we have some placeholders for secondary service stubs and transferring of service drops on a location by location basis. This spec may or may not require those units, so we'll bring them in as placeholders to make it very easy for the work group to pick those up and add them to their job cards. So this reference data is 100% complete for this owner. Now we're going to go over to a work group, and this work group is going to manage a job. Let's back up a step here. So what we have is we'll go back to our job, and we just set up a little test job here. It took us just a couple of minutes to set up a job, and we can go into our design. And when we get into our design, you see that we're working on locations and location details. Exactly the way the utility designs their work, expects their work to be processed, tracked, reported on, and billed against. So we're going to go into our import design, and we're going to go find our file that we want to import. And here it is. So open that up and enter it in. And a utility owner may have multiple job cards for a single project. Some of them will break these up into the different work types and whatnot, and we can stick them all back together here. But we're going to go next. So right now we parsed through that entire PDF document, and we found all the locations in particular and specific information, span lengths if it's a wire location, and then if the work location is on private property, we'd pick that up off the job card because that would cause different units, billable units, to be mapped against a particular macro unit or C-spec. So we don't need that. If there's any other locations we don't need because some other work group is going to do the work and we know that at this point, we can exclude them. We go next. And it just parsed through now for each location and brought in all their macro units, construction standards, whatever again they're called. Some of these are gray. It's because that clamp is mapped to a non-billable unit. It's just a tracking unit, and there's no revenue there. But again, we can see what these are. If I go ahead and sort by my messages, this particular owner's job cards are sometimes difficult to determine what quantity goes with these units. So if we don't have a very definitive determination on the quantity, we'll bring in our best guess, but we'll put it in red so that the work group can review that. I've already looked at the sketch. These are both ones. So now we have all of our information we want, and we go next. So now this is going through, taking all the location and the detailed data, importing it into that job card in UnitsPro, and associating it with the attributes of hours and dollars. So we get a chance to look at it here before we actually start. So here's all of our locations, and here's the units at those locations. So we're now capitalizing upon the owner's effort to design this job for our work effort. These are assemblies or macro units again, and you might say, well, where's the billable units? Well, if we go ahead and hit the plus here, here's the billable units. So they're brought in underneath that. We can continue and run the job at a macro unit level and report on it, or some customers, both owners and work groups, are much more comfortable with just using these billable units. So we're going to go ahead and begin this design. This says, hey, we can't go back and re-import it. We like what we got. We're going to go through and clean it up from here. We can add more assemblies to locations. We can get in here and edit these assemblies. In this particular instance, we're going to convert these to strictly billable units, because this work group and this owner use this process as a means to an end, and the end is what are the billable units at a particular location. Again, these can be modified, and once they're modified, we're good to go. You can see we've estimated it. We have our hours here. We have a pricing tab that shows us our quantities and our unit pricing. We can go ahead and we can actually schedule this job. So we're going to schedule it by week. It's a small job. We could schedule it by day, by phase. So we've got 66 hours here, and we're saying that we're running 120 hours a week per crew, so it only puts it in at 1. If we wanted to say, hey, we're going to start this on week 1 and complete it in week 2, we can go ahead and do so. Save it. And then there's a quandary of reports. This also pushes to a whole scheduling infrastructure within UnitsPro, where we can take a look at sequencing the jobs by foreman and therefore laying this all out. So here's our work down curve. The red indicates our planned. The dotted blue is the PM's forecast, which obviously initially will match. And then as work is performed, the dotted blue becomes a hard blue. If the hard blue is under the red, we're ahead of schedule. If it's on top of the red, we're behind schedule. Very simple way to look at it. There's all sorts of cash flow reports and whatnot, but gone into more detail than I wanted to here. The process of creating a job in UnitsPro, loading the job card, location, and details, coming up with an estimate should take no more than 5 minutes max per job, usually less than 2 minutes. Hey, thanks for watching.